Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about American politics. I want to talk about President Donald Trump, who I am planning to vote for on November 5th, and who I highly encourage you to vote for on November 5th. And that's not a small thing. I just want to, I've stumped for Andrew Yang in 2020. I voted for Obama twice, right? And I stumped for Vivek Ramaswamy right here for quite a while. I never wanted to be on Trump's side. I don't respect him as a human being. I don't think because he lies too much I'll tell you right now, any man who leaves his wife and gets a divorce voluntarily, no respect for you. None. Zero. You broke the biggest oath you ever made. You're a dyed-in-the-wool mitigated liar loser. Right? So I think he's a liar loser. I'm giving him my vote. And the reason why is, in between 2020 and 2024, I suffered the greatest crime I've ever suffered from, ever. And right then, the moment it happened, right, the first Democrat I walk over, hey, look at this chart here. Crime's going down. You can kick rocks. You ain't gonna gaslight me. I just suffered the greatest crime I've ever suffered in my entire life, right? Not only is crime not going down, I don't believe that factoid for 1 second, right? But in addition to that, I believe that war is on the rise and inflation is on the rise, and that's why you cannot vote for Kamala Harris. Are you willing to be gaslit? Right? Like, it's very clear. Crime is on the rise, war is on the rise, and inflation is on the rise. And if Kamala gets in, it's super clear she has absolutely no plan to stop any of that. Right? And so it's just all going to increase. Right? Israel's been at war for a year. Ukraine has been at war for almost 2 years. It's astonishing how bad we gave them the reins, Biden and Harris, and Biden never let a day in his life, and Kamala Harris let all of this just fall apart. Right? So we have to punish them for this 4 years, and we punish them with Donald Trump. But today, what we're going to talk about, and thanks, I kind of buried the lead there. Today, what we're going to talk about is a distressed purchase, right? So we should realize Donald Trump why are we voting for Donald Trump? This is staggering, right? A guy who, stumped for Andrew Yang with UBI for 8 months, right, is now telling you to vote for Donald Trump? Yeah, because Donald Trump is a distressed purchase, right? I did not know this term, but it's absolutely fascinating. So Wired magazine used to be a great physical magazine. Absolutely love them. They're really, really fantastic. I love just sitting down and reading a Wired magazine 15 years ago. Now I don't sit down and read any magazine because they're antiquated and don't really make sense in today's economy, right? So I do like going to the library, and I'll read them there, But Wired magazine put on this great video with a private investigator who then answered all of these questions from the internet for private investigators. It's an excellent video. And I was like, I'd love to learn about private investigators. I think everybody private investigators I want to be a fireman when I'm, even adults are like, I'd love to be a private investigator. This guy was, he's very cool. And, and he was a longtime private investigator, knew his business, did a great job, right? And at one point they said, give us just some detail about private investigation. He goes, well, we're a distressed purchase. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a brilliant way to think about that business, right? He's like, when do you buy ice cream, right? You buy ice cream when you're happy and when you're sad, right? Or you might buy ice cream every 2 weeks, right? But when you buy a private investigator, you're in distress. No one whose life is going well ever hires a private investigator, period, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. It's a distressed purchase. And that's exactly what Donald Trump is. Donald Trump is a distressed purchase. I don't want to vote for a guy who lies through his teeth and has, and is on his third wife with absolutely no evidence that he's not moving toward his fourth, right? In fact, tell me if I'm wrong. Come on. Those two don't look married, right? I think it's very clear that Melania and Donald Trump probably have a Hillary-Bill, marriage where, they don't see each other ever, right? And they come together for some photo shoots every now and then. And so like I can't respect you, right? If your wife, if even doesn't, if your wife despises you, which from every single clue, Melania does not like Trump, and there's good reasons to not like him. But if your wife don't even like you, like what kind of person can you possibly be? I don't want to vote for this guy, but he will fix the country. He is a distress purchase. We are buying a private investigator. We are making a purchase with our vote on November 5th. Because we have to. We cannot allow America to be destroyed, right? And that's what Kamala Harris will do. Within her first 100 days, I could definitely see our nation taken over by another nation, because they're like, Biden was coward enough to us just attack whatever countries we want. Under Kamala, we could just attack you direct, right? And so I think we'd be at war and probably be defeated within 100 days if Kamala Harris is elected. We must not elect Kamala Harris, and we must vote in President Trump. And I'm going to say it too, because voting for a third party is a waste of time. I've done it. I did it for Yang. I've done it 3 times. I'll never do it again. I don't want to waste my vote. And that's new. I've never said that before, but that's what I believe. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.